Hi, this is Nancy Reynolds, Stampin' with Nutsy. Thank you for joining us for our online retreat and World Card Making Day. I am using the Magical Meadow stamp set, and this is my second project, and it is a greeting card. Let me show it to you. It is a faux step card. I've used the blueberry bushel cardstock again because it goes so beautifully with this designer series paper. And let me show you. Let's see. Can you kind of see it? So this is the front. There's our faux step. It opens up for a message, and then on the back I've got another copy of another piece of this lovely snowflake designer series paper. It is on page 36 and 37 and carries over onto page 38 of the mini catalog, September to December 2023. And this suite has so much to going for it. It has the bundle, the Magical Meadow stamp set and dies, the Faceted Gems Trio Pack, which we'll be using, the most beautiful silver and white ribbon. I absolutely love this. The Snowflake Magic Specialty Designer Series paper, and this is where our accent pieces have come from, and the Designer Series paper Winter Meadow. I just think this set has so much going for it. I absolutely love it, and I hope you do too. We're going to use Misty Moonlight to stamp our sentiments. Again, we are using the beautiful ribbon, and although it says white and silver, it really is a mesh, a white mesh. It makes it so lovely. You can see from my pack here that I've used quite a few of my little Faceted Gems Trio Pack in some different colors. We are going to bring in, also in the mini, the modern oval punch, which is really a nice shape for our sentiment. I've got 3 stamps that we're using. We're going to use May this Season of Sparkle Bring Joy and Delight, Winter Wishes, and this lovely scenic stamp. We're going to do this on second generation ink on our sentiment. I know what it is. And we're also going to use it on the envelope. Did it in 2 places on the envelope. Let me show you our pieces. I have scrap cardstock. Now this one is 1/2 inch by 4 inches, and this is going to go on the bottom of the inside with our sentiment. I have some blueberry bushel and some basic white. These are going to be our sentiment, and then a matte layer for our sentiment. And I am going to keep those together because I sometimes get my pieces of white mixed up. So let's just keep those together with a paper clip. I've got a strip of DSP 1 inch by 4 inches or 2.5 by 10 centimeters. That will go on the front right here. Our center designer series paper is longer and thin. It's 2 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches or 6 by 14.4 centimeters. I've cut 2 of the Specialty Designer Series paper 3 by 4 or 8.5 by 10 centimeters. The inside is the exact same size, but it's in basic white. Our center strip is 2 1/2 inches wide by 8 1/2 inches long. I'm going to score it at 5 1/2 inches. So that would be 6.5 by 21 centimeters, scored at 14.9 centimeters. And here's our card base. 4 1/4 by 9 inches, or 10.5 by 24 centimeters. I'm going to score it at 1 1/4 inches, 2 1/2 inches, and 5 3/4 inches, which works out to 3, 6, and 15 centimeters. And I have an envelope. So let's take and do our scoring. I'm just going to pick up some of these pieces, set them aside, and bring in my paper trimmer. Now the first one is our card base. So let's take that and score it. First of all, we're going to take and put our cutting blade clear down to the bottom, out of the way. On the 9-inch side, or the 24 centimeter side, we're going to go 1 1/4 inches. Give that a good score. Then we're just going to double that and make it 2 1/2 for the next one. And then 5 1/2 inches. Nope, not 5 1/2 inches. It's 5 3/4. I made that mistake on my sample and did 5 1/2 inches instead of 5 3/4. And it did not work very well. So this is how it folds. We've got a mountain, a valley, and a mountain fold. And we are, of course, going to take our, because anytime you're scoring a fun fold, just making sure everything lines up and burnish it. Burnish all of your folds. That gives you a nice crisp edge, and that's how it stands up. Then we will take our centerpiece, and it is scored at 5 1/2 inches. So we're going to come in and go 5 1/2 inches. And put our score line in. And burnish it. What's going to happen next is we're going to add, here's some designer series paper, but this is going to adhere to the front, and this, then we'll close it up and we'll adhere this to the back before we cover the back up. So, designer series paper is next. I am going to use my Seal Plus and pull out, first of all, my 1 by 4 inch strip. And when I'm using adhesive, I like to use my silicone mat because adhesive doesn't stick to it. And I find I really don't need quite as much as I think I need. But put this in. Make sure my trees are going in the correct direction. It would look very funny if they were upside down. Put on our little strip of paper. The next piece we're going to adhere is the specialty designer series paper. We're going to just take one of them, because this would be hard to do once we've got our center step attached. And this is going right in this layer. I don't know, can you see how the beautiful metallic shine that's got? There, I think that one, that look right there is starting to pick it up. It is really special. It's a great winter paper, don't you think? Okay, here we are. Let's line this up, getting it centered about equal distance, top to bottom, left to right, or at least close to it. And now we can put on our center step. Although it might actually be easier to do the inside if we did it right now. So let me get this piece. Let's stamp our sentiment, put our strip on it, and get that in our card first. So here's our Misty Moonlight. And we're going to put Winter Wishes right in the middle. I really like when we've got a scripty font and a more of a blocky font. I think it looks pretty. It's also easy to line up because it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, because there is not a straight line with the word winter. Let's close that up so I don't get any blue everywhere, and take our little strip of paper and I'm going to bring in the silicone mat. This is actually a very thin strip. It's certainly enough, but sometimes I go off, and we just want to make sure that, and again, the trees are all going up as they should be. And let's go ahead and put this in our card. I like a faux step card. They're pretty easy to make, but they still have a wow factor. So here we are. Now, if you wanted to, you could also put designer series paper in here, but I'm not sure it's really necessary. And if you did that, again, it would be 3 inches by 4 inches. And now for our step, let's put our center on this. I love this snow scene. Mind you, I am not ready for snow. I'm still into summer. Matter of fact, today is sunny and in the 70s here in Bellingham, Washington. Quite lovely. Okay, there we go. And because a card that's got a little movement can be tricky, I'm going to use my tear and tape, because you want to make sure everything is super well attached. And I'm going to do 2. A good way to measure this would have been to put it over here to make sure that I didn't go outside of my area. And I did not. So let me take my Tick Your Pick tool, pull off the backs, and attach this basically to the middle. Of my card. Fold this down and put my tear and tape on the end, and I think I'll just do 1 for this one. You can burnish with your bone folder, you can burnish with your fingernail, you can use your fingernail to pick up the backing, but I find that my fingernails don't do that very well. My Take Your Pick tool is wonderful. Okay, folding the card down and just attaching this back, and then over the top of that, so we don't see this ugly little part, we're going to put our other piece of the designer specialty paper. I'm going to put it this way. Have more of the silver at the top. And there we are. We have a faux step card that's ready to be decorated. And this is how it looks. And it just stands up so nicely. To decorate it though, let's bring out our scrap paper and our oval punch, the modern oval punch. I'm going to cut one out of Blueberry Bushel. And the second one, I'm going to stamp. Let me get a piece of paper in that I can stamp off on. I'm going to ink this up with our nice Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to stamp it off once because I don't want it too dark. I'm going to stamp it off twice. Yes, that will be perfect. Twice will be perfect. Couldn't remember if I did second or third generation. So once again, we'll stamp it off. And then we're going to put it in the middle. Take our sentiment and we'll use the first generation inking. Kind of across and in the middle of our background. May this season of sparkle bring joy and delight. That is a little darker than I like. Here's the good news about paper. It has two sides. So let's try it again. I will stamp it off and hold it. Maybe I'll stamp it off twice and see what a third generation will do. Much better, much lighter. It'll give us a pretty background for our sentiment. Just it will stand out a little bit more. Again, may the season of sparkle bring joy and delight. Very nice. That does look much better. Now we're just going to put this in our modern oval punch and make it straight, or as straight as we can. As long as we are stamping, let's go ahead and do our envelope and then we can put our ink away. There, and I'm going to put one on the back. Just using first generation ink. Because this is a distinctive stamp, my stamp pad might be just a little bit juicy for it, but I think it's fine for the envelope. Okay, closing up the ink pad and putting it out of the way. Here's what I do, because I want it a little bit, if I just put this on, it kind of fades into nothing, even if I raise it with dimensionals, which I'm going to do. But if you have a little bit of blue on it, it really makes it stand out. So I am going to cut this in half. It won't be perfect. Then I'm going to take and put just a little bit of Tombow on the bottom here. Tombow will give you wiggle room. So you've got the bottom this did just fine. And I'll do the same with the top. Just give it a little bit of color top and bottom. maybe a little bit more to match the bottom, so it's just about the same. Press that down, and then grab my dimensionals. And this is going to hang over just a little, well, it doesn't really hang over. I guess it fits correctly. So maybe I will put a couple extra on there. These dimensional backs get everywhere. It's very annoying. So I try to take them off and put them immediately in the trash can. That does not mean I always accomplish it. Let's see. Not exactly what I planned to do. Here we are. Do you see how that edge that doesn't have any blue, you don't really notice it because it's got the edge, the little margin on the step card? So there we are. We need a bow. I'm going to bring in my bow jig. These are really easy to make. It's just a piece of wood with holes drilled. And they're drilled 1/2 inch. If you did every 1/2 inch across the top, it would be perfect. And then you just decide how big you want your bow. Something to make out in the wood shop. It just ties under and then in a knot. For me, this makes bow tying very, very easy. And you can adjust this a little bit, either side. Pull it nice and tight. I do waste a little bit. Because it's easier for my hands to handle. And a glue dot. Have you heard my glue dot story? I have a lovely cat. Well, both of them actually. Get up on my tabletop and they would take the roll of glue dots, and I find them all over the house. They chew them up because this is nice crunchy paper and leave glue dots everywhere. So I'm going to leave them in the box. It's a brand new box of glue dots. And I'm going to leave them in the box and hopefully keep them safe. Okay, here's our little bow. We have one more thing to do. We need to put our gems on. So, using my take your pick tool, the putty end, I'm just going to pick up and put on some little glue dot, our little gems. And believe it or not, that's our card. That is how easy it is to make a faux step card. Let me move things out of the way. So we have our original and the one we just made together. Isn't that fun? And they really are cute. And I really do like the way they look when they are standing up. And they don't fall over. They actually stand up, which is very nice. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my project number 2. And until the Zoom call or another event, I will say happy crafting. Thank you.